Hello everyone, I hope you're all having a great day today. Now if you're a fan of Superman, you might know that he's had quite a few costumes in live action over the years. As time has gone on, movie studios have had access to better materials to make those costumes look a little bit more better quality. And for the most part, his costumes haven't changed too much, but there have been some pretty unique designs here and there. So in this video, I'm going to be ranking all of his different live action costumes tier list style. Keep in mind though, this is just my opinion. Share how you would rank them in the comments down below. And without any further ado, let's hop right into it. So starting things off with the 1948 Superman, I believe that's when it came out. This was the first live action Superman, and his costume definitely wasn't made out of the most quality material. It was just pretty cheap because that's how superhero serials were back in the day. And so I really can't rank it too high. I'm putting it in the D tier. And by the way, the stuff I have down here in the question mark tier, a lot of it is just pictures of suits that are already in the tier list, and for some reason there's multiple of them. And some of them were suits that they just ended up not using for movies, but they did make. But moving on though to the 1950s Superman suit, I'm going to put that in the D tier as well. Pretty much same reasoning as the other one. And then we have the colorized 1950s suit, which, I mean, it's nice that it's in color. I guess I'll put it in the tier above, but I mean, same thing. Moving on to kind of a jump in quality is the Christopher Reeve suit. And a lot of people would definitely say that this is the best Superman suit, but I'm actually going to put it in the B tier. And my reasoning behind that is while it is very comic accurate, and while it does a good job of making the muscles pop out, it's still not as good as some of the material today that just has more texture, at least in my opinion. And then I'm also not a big fan of how the logo doesn't quite pop out. I prefer when it's like that on other suits. It's kind of almost detached from the blue part of the suit. Regardless though, this is simple. It gets the job done. It's a very good suit. That brings us to the evil Superman suit, also worn by Christopher Reeve. Pretty much the same thing, but a little bit of a darker color scheme. I'll probably put it in the B tier, and I actually kind of might like it a little bit more than the original. Now I believe this is like the Superboy suit. I'm not the biggest fan of it. It was a television series, so not quite the same budget as like a Hollywood movie. So definitely not the most expensive materials. I'll put it above the 1950s one. And then we got the Lois and Clark Adventures of Superman main suit. And I almost feel like the logo is too big on this. And again, since it was a TV series, didn't have the budget to have the best quality suit, so I'm also putting it in the C tier. To be completely honest, I actually like the dark suit from that a little bit better. I'm going to put that in the C tier. I'll put it at the top there. Now, this is one of the earlier suits that Nicolas Cage wore for the Superman Lives movie that ended up not coming out. It was going to be directed by Tim Burton, but it was a canceled movie. And this early design of the suit was not very good at all, so I'm putting that at the very bottom. That is just horrendous. But this more completed design of the suit, which is actually what they used for the CGI model in the Flash movie, actually looks better. I'm going to put this at the top of the C tier. I actually really like the design of the suit, but I can't put it above the Christopher Reeve version because the muscles here were obviously fake. Regardless though, I really do like the look of it, and the more I think about it, I'm actually going to put it in the B tier, still not above Christopher Reeve. And then we have the Smallville suit, and this was obviously meant to not look exactly like the Superman suit because he didn't get the real one until the end of the show, and I'm not the biggest fan of it. I'm putting it in the D tier. I understood what they were going for, but when you compare it to actual Superman suits, it's not going to rank very high. But the dark suit actually does kind of make a little bit more sense, at least I think so. So I'm going to put it in the C tier. Moving on to the Superman Returns suit. It's pretty much like the Christopher Reeve suit, but the colors are a little bit more saturated. And I like how the logo pops out, and I kind of like how he has the Superman symbol on his belt. I would put it in the A tier, but I'm going to put it in the B tier because I'm not satisfied with the emblem. It's definitely not big enough. But the Crisis on Infinite Earth suit, worn by Brandon Routh as well, it's basically based off of the Kingdom Come suit, and I'm putting that in the A tier. I think it's very good for what it's going for. It just looks great. But then there's another suit that's essentially the same, but with yellow instead of black in the emblem, and I'm putting that in the S tier. I legitimately think that that is just such a clean suit while also being comic accurate. That brings us to the main suit from Man of Steel, and I'm going to put that in the A tier. I actually think they made the suit work very well without the red underwear. I know it's pretty controversial whether or not he should have it, and to be completely honest, you can go either way and it works. I definitely like the scale-like texture of the suit. It just looks like something that's actually from another planet. The emblem is literally the perfect size, and I like how they have the classic logo on it, but just with a few tweaks, and it makes his muscles pop out. It's just very well done. And as for the dark suit from Man of Steel, I'll put that in the the A tier as well. That brings us to the Batman v Superman suit, which is essentially like the Man of Steel suit, but they just made a few tweaks with the colors and simplifying some of the stuff on the side. It's a little hard to compare them when there's not too much of a difference, but it's very good at what it's going for. It's very interesting definitely looking at all these suits. Some of them have more saturated colors and some of them are more vibrant. And similar to the underwear, that's one of those things that I feel like you can definitely go either way and it works. Then we have the Justice League suit, and while the movie definitely wasn't very good, the suit itself isn't too different from the other Henry Cavill suits, just a little bit more brighter, and they kind of oversimplified some areas, so I'll just put it at the bottom of the A tier. It's still pretty clean. As for the Snyder Cut dark suit, that is actually very good. It's honestly pretty beautiful. I wouldn't want it for the main suit, but for the dark suit, it is just very good. The suit from Superman's cameo in Shazam, which didn't even have Henry Cavill, it's pretty much like the Batman v Superman suit. Not a huge difference. I'll just put it in the A tier as well. The last time we saw Henry Cavill, though, in Black Adam, I'm going to put that suit in the S tier. It's very similar to his other suits, but the colors kind of pop a little bit more because of the lighting. And he does have the signature curl in his hair, so that was also a nice bonus. Now, as for the first CW Superman suit, I'm not a huge fan of it. I'm going to put it in the C tier. It feels like they just had too much stuff going on at the top. Then the rest of the suit was pretty much blue except for the red belt. Now as for the first suit from Superman and Lois, I'm actually going to put that in the A tier. It is that classic Superman design. It was nice of them to bring that into live action. But the main suit from Superman and Lois, I'm going to put that in the S tier. And to be completely honest, my top 3 in the S tier, they're kind of interchangeable. I think I like the texture the best from Superman and Lois because it is kind of scale-like, similar to Henry Cavill's. But it doesn't pop out as much. But I do kind of wish that the Superman and Lois emblem was a little bit bigger. As for the dark suit from Superman and Lois, I'll put that in the A tier. It's very good for what it's going for. And this is pretty much the same thing except like a hologram. But that brings us to the newest one, the David Corn sweatsuit. And this has been very controversial. Many people think this is one of the best. Many people think this is absolutely terrible. And in all honesty, I actually do think it's pretty good. I'm going to put it in the A tier. I like how it took inspiration from different suits from the comics. I think the material it's made out of is fine. The one thing definitely holding it back from like S tier though is just the fact that I don't think they made his muscles pop out as much. And I do think that is kind of what they're trying to go for. But just in all honesty, Superman's muscles were always meant to pop out. But just overall, the suit is pretty nice. Overall, that was my completed tier list. Let me know how you'd rank all of these Superman costumes in the comment section down below. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.